Hi, I'm Tim Roble, and this is the ExtremeEnduroStore.com's review of the brand new Factory Beta 250RR. We were lucky enough to get this bike from Tec-Cycles with their featured rider, Tec-Cycles. I've had this bike for about 4 days now. I've gotten to go over the fit and finish and started prototyping our brand new skid plate for this unit. So let's take a walk around the bike and see what it's all about. First thing we'll see as it comes into view is a nice quality wave rotor and the Nissan twin piston caliper. Very adequate brakes on this bike. Comes standard with an FMF exhaust, and the Beta factory cover seems to be a very solid unit. The ignition on this bike actually sits in oil. Down to the swing arm, notice that we have a polymer lower chain guide, and the chain and sprockets on this bike are nice quality units. As we move to the right side of the bike, you can see it comes standard with a wave rotor in the rear and a single piston caliper. Next thing to note is it is a linkage bike, so all the progressive rate on the suspension is done through the linkage. Moving through, you can see the FMF exhaust, and down below the water pump we have a tunable power valve, so you can kind of tune in the power you'd like on that. Down low they've mounted the starter. And you can see how I've started working on the skid plate, tying it into the chassis and the exhaust, so everything kind of stays together as one unit. This bike comes as like a Euro spec street legal, so it actually has lights, horn, and a tail light that comes on the bike standard. To the rear of the bike we have grab handles that are integrated into the subframe seat area. It's a really nice option. And then out back we have a quality FMF expansion chamber. Really nice unit. Moving forward on the bike, it has very nice machined polished triples. Just a nice touch and flair on this bike. We have Ty Collins out doing work on Glen Helen's Endurocross track. He's a 14-year-old up-and-coming Endurocross racer. He comes out of trials in the expert class. Definitely going to be somebody to watch. Feet up on the pegs, looking smooth. See the bike really working, and we really haven't started playing with the suspension much. We just kind of dialed in some factory settings. You can see the bike working really well. Track is really dug out pretty nasty right now, so watching them just moving through stuff, it's really working well. Next up we have Cody Webb, Pro Class Endurocross, Extreme Enduro, and comes out of Pro Trials. He's got a national championship under his belt, and you can definitely tell by the way he rides. I love the way he attacks the course, and you can tell his bike's just dialed in a little bit better and a little bit more refined. Love this section here. Jumps down, as the bike rebounds, he's back up and over a 2-foot log. Makes this tire double just look simple. Through the corner, he's doing a nice splatter on the back side of that log there. See the bike, it just really works as he attacks the course. Super fits his style of riding. a quick tour of around the bike so you could see fit and finish and some of the quality componentry that went into building this bike. Definitely a gorgeous motorcycle. We loaded it up and I delivered the bike out to Glen Helen, California, where Ty Collins went and put in some solid laps on a very rough and torn up course. Then we had the opportunity to watch Cody Webb show up on his bike and just put in some flawless laps, just making the course look super smooth. Basically, that's the same bike that he won King of the Motos on. So now this bike is already a proven extreme enduro performer. Definitely a weapon of choice. Talking real quick about this bike, since we've seen it last, it's done about 6 hours out there on the enduro cross course training for practice. And then Ty took it out and won his motocross out of Glen Helen. Some of the changes he made to the bike is he put on a bend of bars that basically suits his style of riding, and the Geomax MX-71 rear tire. Other than that, it's basically a stock bike. We're about 3/4 through the development of our skid plate. We're looking at about 3 to 4 weeks for the production models coming off the CNC. So stay tuned for that. Real quick, I want to cover some of the things I like and some of the things that I might have a little questions about on the bike. Starting off, the clutch pull is still light, but it's noticeably heavier than the KTM, so you're going to have to keep your clutch fingers strong. FMF quality exhaust, both expansion chamber and silencer on the bike, love it. I love the fact that the fuel petcock sticks out in the way in the off position. So you're on the line and you go get your knee into position, first thing you're going to notice is your fuel is off. So something for stated peace of mind. We have the V-Force reeds that come standard on the bike. How do you beat that? The grab handles, that's something that I really like that's integrated into the subframe and seat. Basically, you get that bike stuck down in a rock section, it's nice to be able to grab down either with your left or right hand and yank that bike up out of a rock section. So that I really like. For myself, I love the black wheels, but I'm wondering if they're going to hold up in extreme enduro and enduro cross conditions and still somewhat look pretty at the end of the year. So that's something that I'm a little on the fence about. And this bike does run a polymer subframe, so I'm a little bit iffy on that right now. I know Husaberg's done it and it seems to be working out really well. In my get off at King of the Motos, my bike basically did a full flip in the air and kind of did a couple more rolls. So I did bend my aluminum subframe, and all that was putting it back on the jig, getting the bike level, putting a cheater bar on it, and kind of tweaking it back into place and bolting things back in, and I'm good to go. So I don't know if that would have torn the polymer subframe up. I don't know if it's actually stronger. I know the polymer tends to hold shape, so it wouldn't have bent out of shape, and if it did, I probably wouldn't have been able to put it back in shape. So on the fence on that right now, so we'll have to see, and we're going to keep up with this motorcycle and see how it goes. And pretty much that's going to be it for my review right now. This is our short-term review. We're going to stay with this bike for a full year and see how it holds up and kind of how we tune it and what changes we can make to the bike. If you're interested in anything with the bike, feel free to get a hold of Tec-Cycles. That's Tec-Cycles. And we're extremeendurostore.com. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you here next time.